we're live. At least it says so. It tells me that every week. I just believe them when they say that. Hi everyone. Uh, we have bad news about tonight's live. You'll notice
Oh
that
yeah.
you'll notice that Jewel isn't here. Jewel messaged me a little while ago and said that he's really feeling terrible. He's got a stomach bug, and I don't like forcing anybody to go live with a stomach bug. I certainly won't want to do
No.
it. So what I said was, we can come on, say hi to you guys, and reschedule it for next week, which is, it might actually work out better because next week is our end of the month, I think, which is the super long, well, not super long, but longer than normal.
Right.
And Philip will be here. Philip's out modding for us. Hi, Philip. Hi, Mark. Um, and Philip's at work, so that's why he's not here. But next week, um, we will all be here, and hopefully Jewel will be feeling better. Hopefully it's not a long bug. But we just wanted to, Jan and I just figured, well, let's just hop in and tell you guys rather than just cancel it and post it. So we're gonna,
Right, because we can just do it like a simple Q&A in the meantime. So if there's anything you want to ask about Hyperionism and stuff like that, please do so in the chat right now. And so we'll say hello, touch base, ask some random questions, and then continue on next week.
yeah. And hi, Lisa and Paul and Hope and Velvet Tears. Hi, Laura. Hi, Cassidy. Oh, yes, Cassidy. Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. But about Chompy, we will do that. Hi, Ven and Anders. Hi, Morg. Hi, Lisa Grace, Lisa Zawaki.
Hmm.
Both Lisas are here, and anybody else up here? I don't know. I'm scrolling up. Um, Kevin Jones. Yes, I see somebody who is new. Well, I think you're new. Welcome. Um,
Huh.
Hi, Paul. If I didn't say hi, Paul. Hi, Paul. Uh, Mark. Yeah. What is this whole Hyperionism thing? And what am I doing here? And who the hell's Chompy? That's why we love you, Mark. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Melinda. It's nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you very recently. Have I? I'm glad you're here.
Oh, Melinda is always around. Yeah.
No, I know. I see you at often at morgues, but I can't remember if I've seen you recently at ours. And I'm glad you made it. We moved to
Oh,
Saturdays, so sometimes I think some people didn't know we moved. And
thanks, Philip.
if you have been here, I just ignore me. My life has been crazy in the last 2 weeks, and I was just out earlier, rushed home to get to do this. Hi, Roberta. No, you're not. We just started, but actually we're kind of postponing. So we're only in here for a few minutes. Um because Jewel doesn't feel well and he's lying down. Hi,
Right,
Claudia.
but everyone can ask some questions in the meantime. Like do a little Q&A.
Yeah. Hi, Trina. Nice to see you. And thank you, Philip. That was very nice of you. Philip super chatted us. That was very kind.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, I'm thank you for modding even though you're working. I don't know how busy you are, but it's nice that you're here. We do have Mark, which is good. Hi, Hyperion Frequency. Nice to see you. Um, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the topic that we're covering. We're kind of psyched about it. In fact, it was really Philip who sort of prompted this because whenever we finish a live stream, we tend to sit around in Zoom and just talk about things. And I had mentioned, hi, thank you, Morg. I had mentioned
Soup for
something.
soup for Jewel. That's so cute.
Aw,
Oh,
yeah, I don't know if he feels like eating, but my heart goes out to him because
right.
I wouldn't be going if I have a stomach bug. Thank you, Hyperion Frequency. That is so kind. Um, we were talking in the last after the last one, and um, I mentioned a hospice that had closed, and not for because people don't need hospice, but because they can't get workers. And we started talking about what society values, and I ranted a bit about things, industries and jobs that I think are ridiculous, and
Right.
money spent on certain things, and money not being spent in areas where we really that really do benefit society. And after a while, it seemed kind of apparent, especially later. I was talking to Jewel about the same thing, filling him in, and said, "This is what you missed in our Zoom after last week's live stream." And we thought this might make a really good live stream, and I think you guys will really like it. I did put links in the description below if you want to check out some of the articles that are about what we're going to talk about next week. And since we have another week, we'll have more time, right, to even come up with extra stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good. How Tell us how you guys are doing. We don't get that much time to actually just hang out and talk usually. We will next week in the secret
Yeah. Oh,
supporters.
yeah. Hold on.
Hi, Deborah.
Let's see.
Um,
Trina, everybody is saying
Hi, Katrina.
hello. Let's see.
Yeah. Katrina, that's a really good point. Who posted recently about turning, I think it was Elise. I don't know if she's in here, but I think I saw on Facebook a post where somebody was suggesting turning abandoned malls into not homeless shelters, but places for homeless people. They could have there's a food court there. There's places where all the shops, the shop areas for places where people could live. And I thought that was a great idea. I don't know if somebody's developing that, but that's a really good idea.
That is a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you could join us, Melinda. Oh, Roberta. Yeah, my mother was just saying that today. She says, I don't understand how people believe in this invisible entity. It's just, just hanging out is fun. Hope. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I don't understand it either.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people just default to that belief because it's familiar and it's something that doesn't involve doing the sort of scary crossing boundaries of your mental self. You know what I mean? You're not pushing the boundaries of yourself and your thinking and your emotional self. So it's easier to default to the idea that there's a creator God when humanity has been believing in that for so much for so long, than it is to actually question a conceptualization of humans without a creator God.
I think it's just, I think a lot of it is tradition. People just don't question it. That's the way
Right.
they're raised. That's the way it is then, because that's what they're taught. I think one of the interesting questions to ask people who believe in whatever their religion is, whether they thought they would still be that religion if they were born into a different family somewhere. It's not like people reach a certain age and then start looking around saying, well, wait a minute, do I really believe this? Let me explore all the other ones and see if this one really is right and for what reasons. They don't. It's just, this is what you are because that's what you were born into. And I think that ultimately it comes down to people don't think about it. They're so busy in avatar mode with their life. They simply they just take it. They take it on faith, basically. They see no need to explore it, to really think about it and have it proved to them. I think the people that do that are the ones who find something in it that's very disturbing that they can't reconcile. And then that's what prompts them. And often then they leave because it doesn't make sense. Yes, Mark. I don't know who did. Was that? I saw the same one, so it's somebody I'm friends with as well. Who posted the meme? Tradition equals peer pressure from dead people.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
really
right.
good one.
Yeah. Um, looking for validation. Yeah. Um,
I'm always so conflicted about tradition because on the one hand, I love having something to ceremoniously visit on an annual basis, but like at the same time, it's like it's got to be something like really, I don't know, not very serious to the point where it chokeholds humanity and society and how it should delegate itself, if that makes sense.
um, apartments being bring in revenue, where homeless shelter is a constant drain on funds. Yeah. Well, we have to change all of society. It's just completely backwards because we don't value the right things, and I think, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Um, I I kind of don't want to start by telling you a few things because I know I'll get on the soapbox and I'll just start ranting about the ways the industries that how much money is spent on certain things. I mean, the big one that comes to my mind is marketing. It drives me absolutely crazy how much money is wasted on something that provides nothing to society. When people, yes, Susan, my rants are the best. Thank you, Cassidy. I appreciate that. But you have to do more than rant. We have to get people to the place where they understand that a paradigm shift in what we're doing, that the society does not have to be the way it is simply because that's what we're used to. And that the values that are put on things are just there because whoever is in power says this is what is valued, this is what we're going to do. And instead, really get people to think about a world where what we do isn't based on how many hours we put into something, that your value isn't that you can just say, well, I worked 40 hours because so many people are working a 40-hour a week job and it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. When we read this article that we're going to go over next week, I think you'll start to see more of that. But I'm sure, just quickly thinking about it, you can think of jobs that some people have that provide nothing of value. And some of them have quite a lot of money involved. There's people getting rich on providing nothing of value, and it's really gross. And you come to some other industries, some other jobs that we need that benefit people, and they're rewarded so poorly. Oh, come to Iowa. Oh, wow, yeah. Um, it's all over though, you know. Um, it's, I mean, no, United States particularly. I know, Jan, you're going to talk about the 40-hour work week um, next
And
week.
how that actually used to be like very generous. Yeah, it actually used to be 100-hour work week,
Wow.
mandatory. And it's all to do with like the era of the presidency of Ford, which was like a big sort of working class point in America. So yeah, it used to be 100-hour work week. So 40-hour work week is actually generous when it comes to what used to be put into place.
There's no life in there. There's no, what are you doing to actually grow? There's no room for that. It's simply um, just being a robot worker for other people
Right.
to get rich. Yeah.
Right. And also, like, it also makes me mad about the part where it's like the whole point of daylight savings being completely based on sort of the working week at the time, which was also during the Ford era. So, like, we've not had any necessity for daylight savings for quite a many years, but it's still put into place for the sake of giving farmers an extra amount of daylight in their work week. But that doesn't apply anymore.
When we were kids, weren't we always told it was so that kids didn't have to go to school in the dark, or we did go into school I can't remember. I'm sorry, I don't like daylight savings now.
No, yeah, daylight savings was all based about the farmer and the worker, the farming worker, because they needed that extra amount of daylight to do the harvest and things like that. But this day and age, there's plenty of technology to help light fields in the dark if need be. So there's been no necessity for that for quite some time. So I think this next year, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually going to be the last daylight savings, and that's not going to happen
Oh,
anymore.
really? Okay.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who complain about it. There's always that funny thing that goes
Oh,
around
me too.
with every that little video of everybody being so confused. It's like they turned it into a commercial for a horror movie.
Because well, what's sad is that there's actually a significant amount of research that shows that daylight savings damages the health of a lot of people. It causes heart problems, things like that, because you're throwing off the sort of rhythm that you have when you go to sleep and wake up and things like that for your avatar. So there's a exceptional amount of research to show that it's bad for people's health to mess with time even by an hour.
Oh, I can totally see that. I mean, it disrupts everybody. No, I don't know who actually likes doing it. There's been a couple of good comments here. First of all, thank you, Paul. And I read your comment.
Oh, thank you.
You have an idea about a third part for the grief, maybe exploring the socio-cultural psychobiology and ritual, also the attitude towards aspect of death and grieving, both in the historic and modern sense. That sounds interesting. We could do that for sure if people are interested in it's a topic that
Right.
everybody seems to have a lot of interest in. So yeah, we could do that. And somebody said, "Hi, Scorpy." Yeah, Laura. Yeah, it was about farmers being able to have more daylight. Um, and Anders, yeah, education too is still today like a model for the industrial age, lagging severely behind the technological progress in the
Yeah.
information age.
Yep.
You know, one of the things that I'm definitely going to talk about next week is it, and it's okay. Sorry, I just lost the stream for a sec. Hi, Zero. We need a paradigm shift where people get away from the idea that you are not valued. You have no value if you're not putting in X amount of hours at some kind of a job. That it's your duty to do that. I'd like to see a world where we know what we need for everybody to live. Everybody should have their we talk about this a lot. Should have their basic needs met, and then we need to produce whatever we need to produce that people want. But we don't need to make up busy work jobs. We don't need to make up jobs that aren't necessary. The toll booth collector one is one I used to scream about all the time.
Right.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
spending your life being a toll booth collector and then retiring? And I mean, yes, you have whatever your 2 weeks vacation a year or whatever, but that is something that people should be, that should be okay, that somebody's life is spent collecting tolls. It's so unnecessary. Or there's a lot of like middle management things. People are just pushing papers around, customer service, and of course the advertising realm, which at least has creativity in it, but it's all geared toward selling things to us. And with the competition, capitalism involved, it's just useless. We don't need to waste money on that. And mean, oh, I'm doing it. I'm ranting. I'm gonna wait.
But I love your rant, so like you stop yourself before it
Well,
gets good.
but the thing that people need to start thinking about, and it sounds so like obvious that people should know this, but you talk to somebody and they just think that the way the world is the way that it should be, that work
Right.
ethic. Well, we have to work, you have to have a job. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a job. I'm not saying that we shouldn't work, that we shouldn't try to make the world better, but we don't need
It's
to
more of a
do it.
purpose.
Yeah, what we should be doing, when if you think that's why this is about value, um I don't care. Thank you, Roberta. I don't care if somebody only works 3 hours. That'd be great. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we only worked for things that society needs for like 3 or 4 hours to get those things done that have to be done for
Well,
all of
I
us.
mean, see, that's where we could. What is considered 3 hours of work? I feel like we could still take that concept and split hairs on that till the cows come home.
Well,
Because it's like, what are you doing within that 3 hours? Because honestly, I've experienced a lot of jobs where I'm there, Johnny on the spot for 8 hours. But like, technically, if I was to condense the actual labor I'm doing in that time, it would be about 3.5 hours. But it's like I have to be there
yes, I
on the
get it.
spot.
I know,
So it's
because
like
yeah, yeah.
it's such a weird nuanced thing. Like what is the purpose of people? What is the value of labor? Like
Well,
what are we doing here and what is it worth and what is capitalism paying for it?
well, what you're talking about is not. Um, that's not exactly the thing. I mean, sometimes there are times when you have to be somewhere to cover something for a certain length of time, and you're not always going to be busy through it. You should be allowed to, when you're not super busy with the thing that you're doing, you should be allowed to do other things, like perhaps be reading or something. You shouldn't have to just sit there staring at the ceiling or whatever.
Well, that's
But
my thought about a lot of like retail jobs. Like, isn't it enough to have somebody in your store making sure your shit doesn't get stolen?
yeah, yes, you need things like that. But what you don't need are jobs where you're not producing anything. There's things that are necessary, like what you just described. They may not have to be working every moment of the time, but it's still something that's necessary. That's different from the kinds of bullshit jobs where what they're doing is completely unnecessary. It's not
Yeah.
like customer service jobs where they don't actually help people, or the middle management jobs where it really is just a tier that doesn't do anything useful in and of itself. And then the entire industry of marketing is another whole thing that could be reduced to a much, much, much smaller. If there wasn't that competition, if it wasn't the money angle, so much money is spent on just commercials. Look at the Super Bowl. It's absolute vying over whether you're going to buy Coke or Pepsi, or
Yeah.
what kind of. I always go to the cereal example, but what we need is for people to see that we could have a world where you the amount of time spent on doing something that is necessary in however you'd want to work it doesn't have to just be you must fill 8 hours. It's not seen that way. It's seen as what is necessary to get stuff done. The rest of the time could be spent. That's when when you work on your own personal growth. You work on projects that would benefit the world, likely. You
Yeah.
you improve yourself, that improves society. And people wouldn't have this sense of not actually producing something. I think there's a lot of depression that comes from people who know they're just wasting their lives, but they have to do it because they need the job to get the income to live. And I think what we should do is focus on people and what is going to make them grow, what is going to make them better. And it has to be combined with the things that we have to do in society to cover the stuff that we want. Of course it does. But this attitude that, well, we're stuck with this world the way it is now because everybody has to prove their worth. And yeah, so we'll find these jobs for them to do that are meaningless. And I think that that's, yeah, Philip just said that his last job sucked the life out of him. I'm talking about things like that. Things, and this is something, I was talking to a friend when, this was years ago, when I don't know, whenever Walmart, at least in Canada where I lived, when they put those, the self checkouts, they had all of those, they had a whole wall full of people checking out customers, and then they did a whole reno and put in a huge self checkout area where they have one person who oversees it. And when you have a problem and you have to call somebody over to help you, they had one person rather than, it took away a lot of the main cashiers. And I was talking to my friend in a coffee shop, and she's one of these people who would have a job like that. And her point, she was upset at me wanting to get rid of jobs like the toll booth collector and the ones that don't provide any fulfillment, unless you're just there because you want to interact with people and that's the kind of job you want. But for the most part, they don't do anything that benefits society. They could spend their time doing something so much more beneficial for themselves and society. And she got really upset because she said, that's the kind of job that I can do. That's the kind of job I can get. Why are you trying to take that away from me? And I was trying to explain to her that society doesn't need to be this way. You're not going to be homeless. I would never just take those kinds of jobs away and have people just be homeless. I want to put a different kind of society in where what you're doing isn't this waste of your human potential. I want to find things that would actually value what you would be able to do. And she's one of these people who had difficulty with keeping like an office job or something. There's a lot of people, I know a lot of people personally who have been in that position where they had difficulty for one reason or another, sort of keeping a 9-to-5. And rather than, I know, Randy, I'm sorry, but rather than looking at the situation and saying, what kinds of things could we produce in society so that these people would have a match for something that they could do that would be beneficial? Society is very cookie cutter, and it says, no, this is the way we do it. And if you don't fit into that, you're just going to fall down, you're going to fall through the cracks. Anyway, okay, I just ranted for way too long, and people have come in. Hi, Elise. Yeah, Anders, self-checkout, that's just a small example of automation. I think automation will become huge. Even many white-collar jobs will be replaced by those automated jobs. And that's not a bad thing. But it doesn't mean that the people who are doing it will suddenly be starving to death. We don't want that. We want to free time for people to do things that are worthwhile. That's when I say getting away from that mindset that, well, what matters is that you prove your worth and put your hours in. That's when we could be doing so much more with our potential. Imagine having extra time to study, to learn, to do things, to take up other for one thing, just going to regular kind of schooling classes. But what if you want to learn trades things that we don't have automation for? What if you want to go into a field that you would have never been able to before because you couldn't afford it, or or didn't have the time to do it? Mark, leisure time has only ever belonged to derelicts and aristocrats. Yeah. So this is the thing that I kind of want to bring up next week, especially Jan. Oh, I lost Jan. We lost Jan. I don't know what happened. Hang on. I kind of figured something was happening because she was very quiet. They were very quiet. Hang on. Let me see if they come back. Hopefully they will come back. Yeah, Hyperion Frequency. Why aren't we funding education? People, just period. Yeah, education is another one of the things on the list that is way undervalued. Education, childcare, anything to do with how that's probably Jan. Hang on, let me find out what happened. I just lost her. Oh, her. Yeah, I know you're not in there. Oh, their computer is restarting, so I'm just gonna say okay. Poor Jan. Poor Jan. But I think you get the point, right? And I don't mean to be doing all the ranting that I'll do next week. And when we have Jewel and Philip in as well, I know that they will have a lot of things to add. I believe in a UBI, absolutely. Who else did I miss? Hi, Joanna. Who else came in? Did I miss anybody else? It's nice to see you, Elise. Elise, we were talking about you. I think you posted a meme. I think you posted the meme about the peer pressure. Oh, mental pressure, Laura. Yeah, those I had I had jobs that were mentally draining because they were pretty mind numbing, and that causes, I think that causes a lot of depression. And I think the company has a Kevin, I understand it's only necessary because the societies we have need to be more civilized because they are still too wild, which is natural, but is making civility fall apart. Can you explain that more? What do you mean? Um, I just think that people need to realize that society doesn't have to be the way it is. Oh, here's Jan. I think she's joining. There she is. They. Oh, Ren, thank you so much, and I'm glad you stopped by. I don't know if you're still in here, but thank you very much for the super chat. Hi, Pooks. Hi, Jan.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, you were really still, and then you just disappeared. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, weird.
You know, okay, Scorpy, employers are expecting employees to do the job of four people now. Now, four people, that's another problem. And I absolutely think that something has to happen with that. In my last job that I had in New Jersey, I worked at a school system, and somebody came in who had worked at a technology company down the road, and I think she took a pay cut coming to work at our school in some sort of a technology capacity. Why can't we see you, Jan?
I don't know.
I'll let you fix it. But anyway, I was talking to this woman, and she was so happy. I was telling her, oh, we have stresses and stuff here, and she just laughed, and she said, what you have here is a piece of cake compared to what she had at her job. She told me it was so bad. They had laid off so many people. She was still there, but they just kept piling. Oh, we lost Jan again. They kept piling the work on to the people who were still there. That she told me, and I was appalled. But oh, here's Jan again. She told me that she used to drive to work and wonder. She used to think about driving into the median because she wanted to have an accident that would
Mm.
send her to the hospital, um, but with nothing too serious, where she could have a break, like a little break from having to be at work, but without it being so serious that it could cause her severe damage. So she'd be like maybe just a broken leg. And I was just appalled. I would look at her and say, how how can you have that kind of like thought? It was that she said it was that bad. It was that bad.
Huh.
I don't know what's happened in this. I don't know what you missed. Jan was saying about somebody in my last
A
job.
lot.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I'm in outer space. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I could tell you later, but it was just somebody in my last job who came to work at the school where I worked, and she was so happy and that she got the job because it was so much less stress from the previous job she had in a technology company. And she
Uh-huh.
used to drive to work hoping that she would have an accident. Like how bad, like she would say, how bad would I end up if I drove into the median and had to go to the hospital? The only thing that kept her from doing it, because she wanted a break that badly from having to go to work. Yeah, she did, Scorpio. She needed a break. Oh, Lisa says you felt that too. It was really distressing to hear it. That people would be that stressed because they so much work was being piled on them. And again, that shouldn't be allowed. Yeah. Where's your camera? We
It's
see.
not working,
Oh, okay.
so
It's
it's
you're you're here.
yeah.
You're here in voice.
I
Um,
am sorry. It's just not working. I don't know why, and I don't want to restart my computer to find out.
that's okay. We're
I'm
actually
here.
we I didn't mean to come on um and rant this much, but um I don't know how we're going to change this paradigm, like so that people can start to see that it shouldn't be the way it is right now. You
Yeah.
know, it shouldn't. There's very little value for many people who have these kinds of jobs. It's and they have to know. They have to know that what they do. No wonder so many people sound really bored or stressed. You
Right.
know. Hmm. Yeah, Hyperion frequency, really hoping the world can heal within the next millennia. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be fast. It's, this is, there's a lot, there's a lot to be done. Um, but people need to understand their value. And I mean, that's why we do what we do. Um, that's why we're always talking about understanding the nature of existence, understanding who you are, where you are, what's going on. It's really important. Yeah, Jan is speaking to us from outside the hollows. Well, at least outside of the camera.
Right.
Um, okay, Cassidy said we're gonna name the quokka. People were supposed to vote. I didn't vote because I'm not allowed to, but
What is the name of the quokka?
it's Chompy.
Oh, that's cute.
That's a really good one, Lee. Hyperion frequency. What about all the elderly that still have value but are pushed out of society? And yeah, I feel you on that one. Uh, and there's so much that could be used properly. There's if if society were not based on the values that it's based on now, uh, we could we could do so much more. I mean, I have friends who are disabled who would like to be able to do things, but they can't because they either aren't allowed to, uh, because then their disability would be in danger, or um, but they can't work full time because they're disabled, and it's so impractical. The needs of people are not looked at as of this is what we need as society. This is what people need. Let's come up with things that match. It's not. It's this very very particular mold that people need to fit in. I think with the pandemic, it's changed. One of the articles that I put through, at least in terms of time off and sick days, apparently the people being home, working from home, has changed the way some companies are dealing with time off for sick time, and how employees are feeling more valued because of it. So we'll cover that as well next week. I think that we. Oh, hi, Brandon. Working from home is amazing. Yes. I think that's something. There's a lot of companies that really didn't want that. I worked from home for a very short period of time at one of my jobs, and I know that at that time, this was way before any kind of Zooming or whatever. I just had a computer at home and was doing something at home because we didn't have it at work. I had a software at home. And I think people at that, especially at that time, really thought that employees would be lazy, not wanting to do things, when in fact, I know for in my case anyway, I put in extra hours that I didn't count for because I was making sure that things were done properly. And I think that when you meet the needs of your employees and they see that they're valued, people aren't just looking to get away with things, especially if people feel that they are producing something of value. And I think a lot of times when they aren't, because it's some kind of a bullshit job, it's very unrewarding all around. Only strong unions, labor solidarity, and general strikes convince the capital class to adopt human standards generally. Yeah, I can see that, Mark. Oh, Pooks, good comment. I got a job search. Good luck with that, by the way. You worry about getting to something draining. Yeah, I think jobs that are draining, that you can't get around it, they just are draining. They need to have things built into them to keep people from burning out. I think hospice workers is definitely one of those. But again, you have to value the job and you have to compensate accordingly. And again, next week we'll get into that. Hi, Illusion Shadow. Unmotivated for advancement movement. Historically, it's the way we got little breaks, like 40-hour work week, weekends off. No, yeah, yes. Jan said that. Are you still there, Jan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you sound like you're on the other side of the room.
No, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. It started out being really bad, and then they put in certain things, but but again, it doesn't. It shouldn't be just, here's the amount of time we think we want to see people working for, because then we get our value out of you. It's so backwards. If you wonder if there was like aliens that came and looked at this world, they think we were crazy. Scorby, people with kids had to work weekends and kids had weekends off? I didn't know that. Yeah, Joanna, Jan's having problems with their camera. Pooks, you're an alien. Well then tell us, Pooks. Is this planet crazy? Yes. This planet is crazy. That's depressing, Kevin. I agree with a lot of that, Lee. It's mind-boggling, but people don't realize it because it's the way it is. It's what people know. They don't, it takes massive innovation to show people that it can be different. Hi, Jeannie. I just got here. Earth folk are crazy. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue. Um, it can, when you look at what is valued and you think about what it could be, you can see how far we have to go. We have a long way to go. Well, we're doing okay, Jeannie. Unfortunately, Jewel is sick, and that's why he's not here with us. And we're actually just hanging out. And in fact, it's we we should probably get going. We only meant to be in here for about 20 minutes. We are going to reconvene next week. Hopefully, Jewel will be better, and Philip, who is working tonight, will be able to be with us, and we're going to have this entire topic. Thanks, Morg. We're going to do the whole entire topic and really get into it. In the meantime, like I said, I did put the 3 articles that we kind of just use some of the topics from in there, and you can take a look at them if you want, but you don't have to. We're actually going to go over one of them and kind of read it together. We did decide that Quokka is named Chompy, and that was Mark, right? Who came up with that? There he is. Come down here. There we go. I'll just move him right there. That's Chompy. Chompy, my little coughing, my Quokka for when I cough. And whoop. I think there's a lot of people who will really think that it's a good idea to change the paradigm. I just don't think that they know that it's possible, that they haven't really thought about it. It's like the religion thing. It's what they know. It's all they know. And that's the way the world is. And they don't see that it can be different. And it is hard to change a paradigm. It's hard to get people out of that mindset that they're used to. So, Kevin, I did not even know that there was a volcano under America. But if it's not active, I'm not going to worry. Hi, Michelle. I am feeling well. It's unfortunately Jewel that was not feeling well. People do fear the unknown, Roberta. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Is it Yellowstone, Philip? Yeah, that's all we need. That's all we need is a volcano. We don't want that. Anyway, I think we're gonna, I can't believe that I kind of ranted for 45 minutes, but it's really good to see you guys. Oh, there's Philip. I thought you had to go back to work, Philip. Your ceiling is falling in, Roberta. Uh-oh. Please be careful. Okay, we're going to... Oh, I did not know that, Scorpy. Wow, that's a little frightening. Well, let's put... On that frightening note, I'm going to look that up now because it's not active, though. It's not active, right? I'm putting Crocus through, and I am going to go and look that up because I hadn't heard about that. Yes, you will see us next week. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you guys for coming. The volcano is golden toilet floor. Just wait. That's funny. All right, you guys. Thank you for coming. And sorry that, it was just a little casual stream, but it was good to see you. We will see you next week. And yeah, take care, all of you too. We'll be back, all four of us, for next week, which also is our end of the month already. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night, Jan.
Bye.
Bye.